We are proud to sponsor this particular breakout session, and I have the privilege of introducing our two speakers who I know well. I'll read their bios and we'll chuckle kind of some spots. No. Samantha Baker was born, she moved to Abilene in 2006. She's a graduate of Hardin-Simmons. She worked at ACU as an admissions counselor. Is that what it says? Nurse recruit for Abilene Regional Medical Center, the South Side. Currently the Vice President and Regional Marketing at First Financial Bank here in Abilene. Samantha has a strong passion for Abilene community, serving on the executive board for the Taylor County Expo Center, the NOAA Project, the Laura Bush Institute for Women's Health, and Abilene Back to Badge Foundation, and most recently a member of the second best leadership Abilene class of 2014. We all know that 2020, 21, 22 is the best year. So you're currently in leadership, that's still going on? Second best class, that's cool. She also loves camo attire, hunting adventures with her husband, and she is an unfortunate Texas Longhorn fan. She'll find Samantha cheering them on with unwavering enthusiasm. She is a devoted wife and wonderful mother to Wade and little Cole, and the dog parent, Winnie, a white lab. Okay, Brad. I'll just skip the rest of hers. We'll go straight on to yours. Brad is a Wiley High graduate and ACU, majored in education. Scratch him around. Got his JD from Pepperdine University School of Law in Malibu, California. While in California, he met his future beautiful wife, Janelle, who was then a journalism student and later became a national news reporter for Fox News Channel. Following law school, Brad went to work for Alma Mater, Director of Annual Giving and Alumni Affairs at Pepperdine Law. I didn't know all this. 2 legitimate firms in Los Angeles. 2016, no, it's 2, I didn't say illegitimate, worked at 2 legitimate law firms. In 2016, the Benham family, with their first daughter, returned to Abilene. He was the president of the ACU Foundation, where oversaw fundraising, trusts, and estate gifts for the university. In 2001, he transitioned from ACU to Hendrick to help lead the hospital's fundraising efforts. In the Abilene community, Brad serves as Commissioner on City of Abilene's Planning and Zoning Commission, the P&Z, member of the Abilene Chamber of Commerce Board of Directors. His wife, Janelle, currently VP and President of the Abilene Zoological Society, and they're also avid supporters of the Grace, Abilene Public Library, and other great service and activities. Their 2 beautiful daughters, Henley and Davis. And his father is the CFO of EHT, about to retire. We're going to miss him. He's been there 30 plus years, well before I was there. Okay, that's enough of the introductions. We're going to talk about LinkedIn. Yeah. You know, if you do LinkedIn, you're going to learn about it. If you don't, it should be, I guess, after this.
Thank you, Joe.
Awesome.
Here you go.
Thank you, Joe. All right, good morning. I hope you enjoyed the hyped music coming in. I'm one of those, I hate dead silence, so I like to hype people up, get some conversation going, because we've got an exciting topic to talk about. How many of y'all are active on LinkedIn? You post regularly? Okay. How many just have a sitting LinkedIn and don't know what to do with it until you update your career? All right, there we go. Okay, so this is a session for you. Brad and I are here to talk to you about some tips and tricks of what we've learned, what we've seen, the trends over the years, how far LinkedIn has come. And so this is going to be a fun topic for y'all. So first off, we're going to go ahead and kick it off, just kind of breaking down the social platforms, just kind of what each one stands for. Kind of give you wait, not that one. One more back. Okay, here we go. So a lot of y'all are probably on these digital platforms. If not, just kind of breaking down which one means, Facebook, of course, is the OG of the social platforms. This is more of just your personal life stories.
Anybody have MySpace? I think I'm the oldest
MySpace,
person. I'm the oldest person in this room.
Zanga? Any Zangas?
Oh, okay.
Yes, where you built your own profile and website. Yes, those coding, early coders. All right. And then Facebook happened and we introduced our personal lives. Samantha is having fun or something simple like that. Now we've come so far to where everyone's involved in it. More conversational, more kind of your older demographic are starting to use more Facebook. And then Instagram, the IGs. How many Instagrammers do we have in here? Okay, all right, yay. All right, this is more image-centric, the more food grams. Remember back in the day, you're always posting your food. Now it's more stories and reels, more interactive, kind of a mini TikToker, about to be the official TikToker. And kind of more over your feed that you're posting. Again, this is more for the younger demographic. And then we can go jump into LinkedIn, more professional, career-oriented. And of course, you'll see more of the college grad, mid-demographic. I see this demographic usage, and I feel like it's more all over, depending on which industry you're in. And so I feel it's more welcome to all demographics. All right, which one's next?
Awesome.
Okay.
I'm going to talk about some annoying things about LinkedIn. Probably things that push you away from doing it. Oh, is this one not on?
Oh, I think so.
All right, I'll try this one. Okay. One of the things is like just building on what Samantha just said, just kind of the wrong content on the wrong platform. If you ever get on and you're like, what is this? Like, this is a Facebook post, and like you feel it, you know? Or like, this is Instagram, and like, I don't understand what this is doing on a professional thing where I'm trying to connect with people, trying to learn about industries. And so going and finding the wrong stuff, I think, starts driving people away. And I'll tell you, the more time you spend with LinkedIn, the more time you'll kind of build the algorithm to feed you the things that you're actually interested in. When you like, when you comment, when you engage with it, it'll push some of those things away and make those things a lot better. I also think LinkedIn is super annoying in how many notifications it gives you. Like, if you have not signed on LinkedIn for like a month, you get on and you have like 500 messages and like 50 requests and all these different things, and you look at them and like none of them are important or relevant. If you'll spend a little bit of time unsubscribing to those and say like, I don't want posts like this. Again, you can train your algorithm to make it just a little less annoying and more user-friendly for you, for your profession, for your industry. And then one that hits me, and I don't know if it's just people don't know what I do at the hospital or what it is, but solicitors on LinkedIn are the worst. Like, if somebody asks to connect with me, I'll connect with anybody on LinkedIn. I won't connect with anybody on Instagram. I won't connect with anybody on Facebook, but LinkedIn, sure, fine. But as soon as I say connect, all of a sudden I get an email. It's like, would you like to buy this thing? And it's like the worst. And I just don't respond, and I don't understand it. I don't know how it's so fast and automated for them to do it. And so those are three things I think that push a lot of people away from engaging on it. For me personally, I was one of those that never really used it, didn't really like it. I would update my job, or I'd get on and like look at other people's profiles or things like that when I was looking to change jobs. But in regards to engagement and things, I didn't really do it. When I started at Hendrick 3 years ago, my boss said, hey, you have to be one of the voices for the hospital, and so I want you posting more on things. I want you talking about things more. And I saw the hospital kind of had three big holes, and they kind of fit with these, where I felt like we were not necessarily on LinkedIn messaging ourselves as well as we could in the local community. One, I didn't think people knew that we were a nonprofit. And so a lot of my posts originally, and a lot of my posts still to this day, are talking about Hendrick Health as a nonprofit. I don't think people knew that we were faith-based. And so a lot of my posts go to that and try to connect Hendrick to faith-based. And lastly, we have huge, as the way everybody else probably does, we have huge workforce challenges where we need to hire more people, we need to recruit more people to the community, we need to do things like this that help people stay here and feel engaged. And so really all three of my posts, for the most part, I feel like can fall into one of those things. If I'm posting like a goofy picture of my kid at work, I'm trying to show you can have a good work-life balance and work here. And so it may seem like it's more of a personal post, but to me, in my brain, I'm trying to hit one of those three things. And so I think for your engagement with LinkedIn, thinking about how you want to connect and what you want to do so that you're not falling into one of these traps of what's annoying and what people would not necessarily want to engage with. Does that make sense? I might have gone a little bit too far. Next one.
That's good. I'm going to borrow. I don't think this
we'll
one.
just tag off.
And this goes back into what he was talking about, relatability. So when LinkedIn first started off, it was just your basic professional platform. It was there to update your job, update any kind of promotions, just basic. Now, since the past 15 years have passed, social media is where everyone's going to announce stuff. Now it's more relatable. We can actually have those conversations like he's talking about, work trends, work-life balance, issues in the workplace, work culture, and I love seeing that. And a lot of people think it's just industry-based. I remember when I was doing nurse recruiting at ARMC, RIP. No, I'm kidding. And trying to utilize LinkedIn for recruiting. It did not work, I felt like, for the nursing industry because nurses weren't on there. College grads were not utilizing LinkedIn as they are now. It wasn't a push platform. Now it is. So recruiters out there, like Trav with the media, like he's utilizing it so much and he's got a huge following. He's using the right hashtags. He's always showing up in the algorithm. Like it just depends on the industry. But the best thing about LinkedIn now is that you get to talk about you and it's okay. You know, and these other platforms are like, oh, that's a little too much. But now on LinkedIn, people love to hear what you are doing in your community, in your industry, but also talking about relatable topics. So we kind of did a little examples of some posts here. I'm a big sports fan. LinkedIn is huge for relating sports to work life. So there was a post by Kevin Washington, who works for UT, hook 'em, and he talked about Xavier Worthy, who just broke the record for the 40-yard dash at the NFL Combine. He related to time. Time is, what did he say? It was time something. Anyway, related to time. Xavier just beat the 40-yard dash time. I can't remember what time it was, but he was talking about how time, huh? Thank you. There it is. There's my UT fan. He talked about time and how time flies by us so fast that we forget to pause and think of the people that we haven't seen in 15 years that we run into, or the family members or our friends. And so just kind of relating that to like real life right now. I think it was such a good post. Working moms, maternity leave, such a hot topic that was not really cool to talk about 15 years ago, and now it's a hot topic. I love seeing how industries are talking about maternity leave, work-life balance, and working moms. You're seeing more women posting about their kids and how maternity leave is utilized in the workplace. It is so important to talk about that because recruiting is huge. Young generations want to see that on how you implement your short-term disability, your maternity leave, paternity leave, all of that. And then, of course, Brad kind of touched on with his kid, bringing your kid to work. Show that culture off. I love to see kids being allowed to come into the hospital. You don't see that much. Even in banking, it's so old school sometimes with some banks here in town or outside in the bigger cities. It's okay to showcase your kids that they're coming to work with you. We all have those moments where we don't have someone to watch our kid. So show it off that they're spending the day with you. So anything relatable to that. You can still be professional, but still be relatable to where it touches people on a personal basis.
In regards to my kids, my wife does not want me posting on LinkedIn my kids' faces. And so if I try to take a picture, I make sure that it's like to the side or the back because, again, I'll say yes to anybody being my friend on LinkedIn, where on Facebook I know who my friends are. And so I think that's just something to think about from a security standpoint or different things like that. But this one to me, my kid was up at work drawing on this board that I have been in meetings that are the most boring meetings you've ever been in with Excel sheets and everything. And my kid has turned this incredibly boring screen into like the most colorful, wonderful turtle drawing in the entire world. And I'm like, this is what the screen was meant for. When the person designed this screen, they did not want us to be using Excel sheets. They wanted us to be being creative. And so that was just popped in my head. I took a picture of it, made sure I got behind her so it wasn't showing her face. But I want to show work-life balance. And I want to show that. And I'll also say a big thing that I'm passionate about is promoting everything Abilene in the big country. Because I think rising tide lifts all boats. And so I want people to come back to work here. I don't necessarily even care if it's at Hendrick Health, because I want this to be a place where young professionals can find meaning, find connection. And so a lot of things that I will post are not even about Hendrick, but they are about Abilene, the big country, and different things like that. Because again, I want us all to kind of be growing and promoting together, because if we have that strong culture, we don't have people that are coming in to be recruited and they're like, well, I'm afraid I won't be able to find my spouse there. Like, I need to go to the big city. And you can say, like, no, we have the Open Road Concert Series. We have things like today. We have all these different things that are catered towards young professionals to help them find connections, to help them do all these different things. And so to me, that is an important thing that we all kind of can be ambassadors. And I'll tell you, probably my biggest irritation for LinkedIn is you can tell the person that's promoting themselves and you can tell the person that's promoting the business or the cause that they believe in. And if all you get on LinkedIn is to promote yourself, as somebody that hires people, I don't necessarily want that person. Because I want a person that's promoting the business. I want a person that's promoting the industry. I want a person that's promoting good lifestyle things, different things like that. I don't necessarily want somebody that is just always looking for the next job and they're going to use me as a stepping stone to get to the next thing. And so trying to like edit and read your voice and make sure, and I'm not saying LinkedIn can't be used to find your next job. It totally can. But to make sure that you're not being too kind of overzealous or overeager in the way you're phrasing that and the way you're connecting and the way you're looking. And I think that's an important part to the professional versus the personal, how you're posting, what you're doing. If you're just totally open and looking for new jobs, like if you were unemployed or whatever, I think posting something like, hey, I'm open to work, I'm looking, like that's totally okay. But I'm saying the posts that are just about me, look what I did, look at me, look how awesome I am, rather than stepping back and saying, hey, look at our industry, or look at my business that I'm working on, or let me highlight this other person who's doing this incredible thing, because I want to champion them. And I think that's a real strong distinction, and I think it helps with both the professional and the relatability as we connect to different people.
And kind of honing in on that, I was listening to a podcast a couple months ago, and one of the things that really resonated with me is she said she judges people on LinkedIn in their work culture by how they repost their company's post. And it hit so hard because it's like we have people even at the bank that work with people every day in the community that don't go and advocate for us on social platforms. And a lot of it's fear. And that's fine. A lot of it's fear of not getting likes, not getting seen, and that's fine. As long as there's visibility, people are still going to scroll and see it. They may scroll by, but you're still putting yourself out there. Some other person may connect with you, or if Mike is the only person that likes my post, it's going to come up in his feed, and they're going to see my stuff. So that's what's so great about LinkedIn is there's a huge network opportunity, even if you just repost by saying, see below, or use a hashtag, or you don't have to say anything at all. It's still going to come up in someone's algorithm. So make sure you are promoting your industry and your company. A big thing, as we say, promote yourself, promote others. I love when I see leaders promoting their people. That is so huge on LinkedIn. Celebrating milestones. In this generation, in this workforce right now, it's so hard to see people that are working past a year. Right? So let's celebrate them. Celebrate their hire, their a new hire, they've been here for a year, or they've been here for 10 years of years. New positions and promotions, of course, are always highly recommended. Go hype them, go comment, go congratulate people, repost. Work anniversaries, again, is so huge in this generation. Again, we don't see many people working 30 plus years in a job anymore. So hype it up. And then gifts. You can use gifts on LinkedIn. Make it fun. So cool. One of our recruiters started using gifts, and I was like, okay, I need to start learning how to do this on LinkedIn now. One more thing to learn, right? One more thing. So she related to, she's in recruiting life, she's knee deep in it, and so the only time she's answering emails is during 9 p.m. to 3 a.m. So stuff that's relatable to other recruiters in the room too. So use a gift to make it fun. And then do you want to talk on the other one?
Yeah, you just want to make things as engaging as you can. Using a picture, I think that's one of the advantages to like Instagram over Facebook is Instagram, there's always a photo, there's something to pull me in, where Facebook is just a political rant or somebody really mad about what's happening on Cypress Street or, it's just something, trees are important. I'm a big Lorax fan, so I stand with the trees. But having the chance to engage people and pull people in, I think another great thing about LinkedIn, it very rarely gets political. I think if it is political, then normally it's based around an industry of like, hey, this legislation's happening and it's affecting banking, and you should know about it. And I think that's totally okay. Like it is mission or kind of issue focused, and that to me makes it an enjoyable platform to connect with. On the milestones and different things, LinkedIn will try to give you recommendations on, say congrats to this person. That's great. I would also encourage you to write your own, because every person that gets the congrats on the 1-year anniversary knows that you just hit a button and that it took no time and you didn't really care, but you just hit the button to get the notification out of the way. And so take that time to engage a little bit, connect, promote different people. I think all the different ways that we can use recruiting events, community events, different things like that to show what's happening here will help connect people back to here. Even if they're not coming to your place, their spouse may be coming to your place, or their kids may be coming to your place one day. And so what can we do as a community to pull together to try to promote everybody? And I think again, to what Samantha said, that is such a smart thing of judging a person and their LinkedIn presence by what they're choosing to repost, what they're choosing to do. One of the best people in our community at this is Scott Deeser, who probably is more busy than almost any of us. But you will watch him, and there's a few things he's passionate about. He loves promoting a new hire at First Financial. And he will repost it. And imagine being a 24-year-old kid that's like coming to work there, and you have the head of the bank promoting you and pushing you out. He loves Texas Tech stuff, a little too much sometimes, but he promotes that. One time I posted something about the military, and he reposted it, and my most liked LinkedIn post ever, I guarantee you, is because Scott Deeser reposted it, and it's all these people that are connected with him that enjoyed what we were talking about, honoring veterans and different things like that. And so it's just a really good chance to have those kind of cross connections. And like, I don't know Scott that well, but I know that we have a common interest and we have a common things of what we want to connect and promote. And so it's just a really great opportunity. And I would encourage you to find people that you like the way they use LinkedIn, go back through their post and look at it and say like, oh, look, they just reposted this without even any comment. They just wanted to show that person, I'm promoting you, I'm connecting with you, I'm trying to push you forward. Because that's a really important thing, and that's a good thing for a manager and a boss to show, is that I'm promoting my employees and I'm promoting my company.
You can go to the next one. My favorite thing on LinkedIn is tell your story. I always tell our lenders this, like, share our story, share your customer stories. People want to hear that relatability. And so, for instance, I work with a freelance videographer. He was here at ACU, and now he's working with Arizona University's women's basketball. But he wants to branch out, and he wants to do more bigger business content creation. And I said, use LinkedIn to tell your story. And so he posted all his video. He's posting all his video work, all his engagement, followings, all the analytics that he's had from it, and he's already gotten some interest already in some employers reaching out to him. So tell us your story. That is the best thing to build that visibility on LinkedIn. Again, it could be resharing something from your company. For instance, Roston works for Habitat for Humanity. Showcase your mission. How are you living out your mission with Habitat for Humanity? You know, talk about the neighborhood building over here on the north side. Talk about the smashing that people can come and destroy stuff at the restore. I mean, that's so cool. People want to see that. Want to go release some stress? Go smash some old furniture at the restore for Habitat. That's fun stuff that's relatable, but it also can also tell a story about what y'all do for the restore and also for Habitat and how you raise money.
I also think it's a chance to connect and learn about other industries. Like, I'm connected with Ross back here on LinkedIn. I know more about ag lending and the different things that Ross is looking to do because he's really good at that. But that's great for me to know. Ross's dad forever has helped us run a dove hunt at Hendrick and does so many cool things and has been on our board for a long time. But that's a whole community that I'm getting exposure to and I'm learning. So when I go to connect with those people, I know so much more because I'm connected with Ross. And I really appreciate that. And so seeing it as a learning tool, as a chance to glimpse at other industries that maybe you're not in but you touch or you overlap, I think is such an unused resource. And so finding different people you follow that maybe aren't just exactly what you do is a really good opportunity to learn, to grow, and to connect. Let's see what our next one is.
I have a love-hate with this next topic. ChatGPT. Any marketing people in here? Okay, I hope you have the same love-hate that I have for ChatGPT, because sometimes I feel like we think of all these creative ideas. You plug something into ChatGPT, 2 seconds later, it's got something ready for you. And usually it takes us weeks to map, plan, strategic, creative, content, everything. How many of y'all have used ChatGPT? Okay, that's a good handful. I utilize it a lot, especially for when we're doing social posts for our bank or when I'm doing personal posts. I know Mr. Brad Holland depends on ChatGPT to create some of his posts and some other things. So utilize it. If you are in that writer's funk or you're just not creative with captions or maybe trying to think of a LinkedIn post that you're trying to relate to a picture, type it into ChatGPT and I guarantee you it will get you your answer in 3 seconds. But the only thing I would suggest is make sure you put it in your words. words. Don't just cut, copy, and paste, because you can tell if it's computer generated versus what really sounds like you. So again, it goes back to making it personable.
One of my favorite writers for The Atlantic is a guy named Derek Thompson. He also has a podcast called Plain English. It's really interesting. I find all the stuff he does, even topics that I don't care about, I find really interesting. When he talks about ChatGPT, he says he treats it like a caddy in golf, where it's not the one hitting the club, but sometimes it will recommend a club to him. And I think that's such a fun way to think about it, is like, hey, I want to say, I'm trying to talk about this, could you give me an analogy? It gives you an analogy, it's not a great one, but you can use that to help adjust and do the thing you need to do. And so it should not be the thing that's hitting the ball for you, it should not be the thing that's driving your message, but it can sometimes be that tool to help you pick the right thing to help you drive your message. And I think that's a really fun way, and to me, as somebody that needs to make content or needs to write the same thank you letter to a donor for like the 15th time, like what new idea could I get that could help me do that? I will say ChatGPT and all the different AIs are going to have different lawsuits related to them, because they basically have ingested so much content that they didn't really have the rights to ingest on. And so sometimes if you ask for a story, it will give you like basically an old New York Times story that's like word for word. And so that's why, again, it's important to rewrite your own words, to use it, to connect with it, but use it as a caddy, don't use it as the golfer. Captions, hashtags. I think this is fun. I think tagging people is fun. Again, promoting different things. This is a few of our marketing people from Hendrick. One of the first posts after Mr. Holland asked me to start posting more on LinkedIn, we were touring the service center that's at the mall when it was still under construction. And then we did our foundation meeting, which I'm over our foundation at El Chico, like right there. And so we had all these people eating at El Chico, and I'm like trying to take a picture without a Dos Equis sign behind them, and like trying to do all these different things so I can take something to post. And like, I didn't know what to do. And so I did hashtag foundation, hashtag philanthropy, hashtag healthcare, like things that would promote our industry. And then I was just being stupid. I was like, hashtag fajitas, you know, because that's what we had to was. And our marketing department came down, was like, hashtag fajitas? I was like, I'm sorry, I just was out. I was out. And so for me, when it comes to captions, I really like to do things, whether it's like a Monday motivation or Sunday inspiration, things that would help people get to see your post. If you're promoting your industry, or if you're at a conference or something like this and promoting that to connect with more people, I think that's so fun. But I also think it's a chance to show some more personality and to connect with different things and do that. And again, I would always recommend, if you're at something with someone else, tag that other person. And so yesterday, Samantha and I snuck in here to hype up this, and we posted about it on LinkedIn. And my first words are Samantha Baker and I, and so she's tagged, and so all her followers are getting it. My followers are getting it, but it's also a chance for it not to just be so self-promoting, it's more dual promoting, if that makes sense. And then the algorithm, I talked a little bit about this at the beginning. You can train everything to give you what you want it to give you. You can train your Netflix to give you what you wanted. It just takes a little bit of time. And I think LinkedIn is getting better at what it's feeding people, but I also think you can like it, comment on it. If you really do, you will start seeing it more. There is a philanthropy specialist out of England who I think does this incredible stuff. She draws these cartoons. She kind of takes very complex fundraising policies and like puts them into like little cartoons. And like, I love her, and I've liked and commented on so many of her things that now it's basically like my homepage. When I get on, when I log on to LinkedIn, Michelle Benson is like the first thing. If she has something new, it's at the top of my thing, because I've trained the algorithm to give me that, and it's always good. And that's for my industry. That would not be important to any of y'all, but for me, it's really important. And so you train it, you do it, you connect with it, and that way you're able to help you the most that it can. And then these are some, about a month ago when we found out that we were being asked to do this, I said, what's a good thing that you use LinkedIn for? Or if you could give advice to people for LinkedIn, and it's too small so I can't read it. But my friend Wes Patterson, who I work with at Pepperdine, who's now like a head fundraiser at USC, which USC, A&M, BYU, whenever I did fundraising for colleges, and like you go to a conference and one of those three schools would get up, they're like, well, I can't go back 100 years and turn us into a cult. Like, I'm sorry, like what's something I can do like right now? But those three, like USC, BYU, A&M, I mean, just kind of, I know, just kind of, Texas is very, very good, very strong, no offense. Scratching Cats, we're trying to catch up, but we're doing our best. But Wes worked for USC, he went to USC, we overlapped some at Pepperdine. But one of the things I love that he recommended, is he said, take notice of people who have positions that you aspire to be in 5, 10, 15 years, and look back at the positions and training and education that they've completed to rise to that position. It's basically a free guide to what you should be doing. And so if you want this job, rather than thinking I should jump from the job I'm at right now to this job, go find other people that have that job. Look at their certifications, look at the different positions they've had all the way, and you can almost make yourself a little career track to help you get to the place you want to go. And I thought that was a really great suggestion. I never used LinkedIn that way, but now going back and looking at other people, I can see like, oh, that makes sense. That tracks. Chris Harrington, who's next door, he said it's a chance to promote others, events, celebrate others' achievements, and comment and support others. I mean, a big community thing of this is a chance to celebrate. And then Desiree, who I work with, she said too many people just use LinkedIn to use people. Like their LinkedIn is either to sell something or to get something or to promote themselves. Rather than seizing the free opportunity to learn about your industry and to meaningfully connect with others, it is an untapped resource for too many of its users. And I agree with that 100%. But I also think that's people that are engaging with it regularly, and so they're just kind of coming to it when they need something rather than staying with it and trying to train it to help. Change the slides.
I think we're on our last slide. Perfect. Okay, now we have a challenge for y'all. But before we challenge you, we had promised we'd do some giveaways today. So look under your chair, see if you've got one of the prizes, or look to the chair next to you if you're not sitting in that winning chair. Someone, it's somewhere. It's underneath the chair.
Might be too well taken.
Look at everyone moving. Nope, not a star. No, but you are a star. Who's got it? All right, she's got it. She got 2 because we're trying to support our local downtown folks that are being paused by this groundbreaking road down here. 2 tickets to the Paramount and some popcorn. So enjoy. Yay. Now, the big challenge, I have 2 $50 gift cards. But you got to do some work. You got to create a post using a photo, gift, or a video from today, all day. You can wait till the end of the day to make this post. Again, going to make it personal and relatable. Tell your story of how this today affected you, impacted you. Connect it back to your industry. So tell us how, thank you First Financial for allowing me this opportunity. Plug them, tag your industry in there so that it goes into the algorithm. Promote it, engage it. Use hashtags. They go a long way. And then you can tag Brad and I. So it can go into our algorithm, our connections. And then make sure you use this hashtag so we can find you. Capital W, capital T, capital Y, capital P, capital L, level up with a capital U. So use all that, and we're going to find you later today on LinkedIn. We'll wait till tomorrow. We'll kind of do a little celebratory post, repost some stuff. We'll repost the winners on LinkedIn, and we'll contact you to pick up your gift card. So that's your challenge.
We'll leave this slide up if you want to come up and look at it. We also still have some more time. Does anybody have any questions or anything they want to add that they like to use? Yes, ma'am.
Hi, thank you for such an informative and very useful, practical workshop today.
Thank you for saying that. Both our spouses made fun of us for doing this today.
Oh, no. I'll write a recommendation if you need. So this might be a basic question, but could you tell us what you look for in a really good profile? What elements do you think should be included? What's your practice?
Professional headshot, that is the big thing. That's the first thing people look at, and your title. Your title in not only your profile, but when it comes up in a post. Yeah. I think that's huge. My sister, God bless her soul, uses like this really selfie. It's like looking down. I'm like, girl, if you want business, you gotta change your headshot. So especially in the energy that she's in, I think headshots stand out. Kind of what you write, that first line. It kind of goes back to Kevin Washington's post where it was like time is worthy or something like that. And then he has a long post going down. The see more. People will always want to click that see more. It's just that instant. I can't even remember.
No, I think it's like giving yourself a mission statement.
Yeah.
and like giving yourself kind of one sentence. And so for me, I don't even know if I have one because I've adjusted that, but I would say something like promoting fundraising, philanthropy, healthcare, like something so that somebody's like, oh, that's what that person does. And then they can see more and they can connect. I think making sure that you have your different credentials listed down in the education, I think is good. When you're making connections with people, being able to be like, hey, you're friends with so-and-so, that's why I wanted to connect with you. That Wes Patterson, he offered like several pieces of advice. But one he said was using LinkedIn to set up professional networking meetings before you need a job. And so connecting with somebody, be like, I see that you went to A&M. I went there 25 years after you, but I would love to talk to you about how you got into this area of banking. Would you meet me at Muck's because I want to support downtown companies that are inconvenienced by the construction? And they're like, oh, okay, that's different. That's different than having somebody that's connecting with me because they want a job today, and if I can't give them a job today, then they don't want to talk to me. And so making sure you have all your universities, all your credentials, making sure you have your interest in those different things listed, and then giving yourself a professional headshot and kind of a one-sentence mission statement about who you are, I think or who you are professionally, not who you are as a person, but who you are professionally, and I think that's an important thing.
Super. Thank you.
Oh, thank you. Any other questions? Yes, ma'am. I feel like Phil Donahue, but I'm so old, I'm the only one that knows who that is. I'm the oldest person in this room, and that makes me feel geriatric.
Okay, I have a question. It's kind of from a different angle. So I'm a recruiter at Texas State Technical College. So I'm interested in terms of, and I spend all day on LinkedIn Recruiter. So like what kind of messages do you think are more strategic, short, more detailed with the job description to catch people's eye? Because a lot of the people I want are passive. So I'd love to hear y'all's thoughts on that.
Is your audience more like high schoolers, donors?
It's staff and faculty to work internally at our college.
So you're looking for staff and faculty? That's who you're trying to recruit?
I would showcase your work culture. I think it's a huge thing right now. I think that's such an important topic. Showcasing what you're doing, like celebrating your staff, highlighting your staff.
I would also potentially use it a little forensically, like maybe you go find the person that you think is a good candidate and say, hey, I wrote this post that you may be interested in, because again, there's so many of us that for a long time had LinkedIn, and maybe it's tied to our email and we get a message if we have a message, but we're not necessarily going to it every day. And so if there's people, candidates, different things like that, and doing it, because I don't think there's a difference between soliciting somebody to like buy your services versus soliciting somebody to say, hey, I think I have a job that you would be perfect for. Or if you know somebody that's looking, this is what we have. Those are types of messages I don't think any of us would be hesitant to receive. And so going and kind of using it to find those types of people, knowing that there's a huge group of people on LinkedIn that do not get on and check. And so you can have your post. I once heard a drag time sports guy say that the average person that listens to his radio show is like 8 minutes a day. It's just like a commute. And he's like, so if you've been listening for an hour and I cover the same topics, well, guess what? You're not my audience because I have to cover the same topics because that's the big topic of the day. And so I would encourage you, especially if you're recruiting and you're offering people the chance to come have a great work-life balance, make money, do different things, to not be scared to post the same post again. Because you may not have caught them in that 8 minutes, but maybe you'll catch them in the next 8 minutes. Mm-hmm. Anything else?
Any trends you're seeing on LinkedIn that we haven't talked about? I know this new conversation starter is kind of kicked in. Trav, do you dabble in that a little bit or see any feedback from it?
Some. I mean, people, you can collaborate, so you can be invited to collaborate as part of, if you're in the healthcare world. So it kind of gives you some gumption, if you will, to be in the industry. So I think it's a good way to get involved. The other thing I think is really cool, and a lot of people don't know, is that you can easily pull up your QR code on your LinkedIn. So say you're at a networking event, and people can scan it very easily. All you've got to do is go to your search bar, and then there's a QR code in the upper right hand, and then people can either scan there or get their code and share that, so it can be your virtual business card.
Like a Venmo me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or it's trip and do the Venmo.
Yeah.
So I have two questions. First, how do you go about, I'll just be blunt. So I sometimes will tag my wife in posts on different social media platforms, and then she, one time said, a lot of people don't like to be tagged. And so my question is, how do you go about tagging people? I mean, I know this is LinkedIn specifically, but what's the best way to tag people? I'm not sure how to answer or ask that specific question, just to make sure you're not bothering them or whatever. And then my second question is, so I would be described as you described the first one, like I created a LinkedIn platform because I was retiring from the military, and they said, hey, you have to have this LinkedIn platform, and I was like, okay, cool, and then I didn't do anything with it. Yeah. So if somebody were to go to look at my LinkedIn profile, I'd have like 4 posts in the last 2 years, and so how do you go about getting that thing going again without a potential recruiter or whatever saying, well, this person clearly is just using it for a job or whatever, they don't really care about it?
I'll tell you, for my personal rhythm, I try to post or repost 3 to 4 times a week. And I just try to tell myself, I want to do this. And that's the way I feel like I'm not oversaturating how much I post, but then it just shows kind of a regular engagement. I also think there's nothing wrong with you doing a post, be like, hey, I'm starting to get re-engaged on LinkedIn. Like, send me your favorite people to follow. And like, that could be your first thing. And so if somebody is going back through your profile, they're like, oh, this person used to not do it, and now they're getting more involved in it. And so it's almost setting that up. I think the tag is a great thing. I think it needs to be somebody you know, yep. Somebody that if you work with them, let them know, like, hey, I'm going to tag you in something if you're okay with that. Because you don't want people to be over-tagged. I think if you're thanking somebody or promoting them and not embarrassing them, for the most part, they're okay with it. We just had a golf tournament in Brownwood, and at the bottom, I tagged all the businesses, like the business accounts that had sponsored it. And like one of them is Kohler and Brownwood, who like Kohler Brownwood doesn't have its own LinkedIn account, but Kohler does. And Kohler liked it and reshared it. And like Kohler has like 100,000 employees. And like that was fun for us to thank them for engaging and supporting a local business. And so corporate accounts, I feel tagging, great. But for personal, if you know the person, give them a heads up or kind of let them know or learn their rhythm. Our friend Desiree, who's our VP over our marketing communications, she made fun of me about something, so I tagged her and made fun of her back. And that's fine. She can get mad at me. Our offices are next door to each other. But I probably wouldn't do that to too many other people apart from Desiree.
But Mike, just because I personally know you, a lot of what you do on Facebook, you could correlate that to on LinkedIn too.
Yeah.
So if you want to make like a welcome back post, funny post, like you just got knee surgery. I'm out of the office for a little bit. And you could use ChatGPT to come up with a funny tagline of out of the office. Do try that if you need a funny out of the office email. You will generate so many funny things, especially if you put in maternity leave. It can be funny, some may not take it as funny. But but a lot, like working for Big Country Casa, promoting the nonprofit world. A lot of people don't promote nonprofit on LinkedIn, and I'm telling you, people want to get community involved. They're trying to find places to get on boards or funding. And LinkedIn is a great way to go find those next donors, those next board members. So talk about Big Country Casa, talk about Leadership Abilene, and that's a huge also professional development that you can showcase of what you're doing. And that can help build up a little bit more of your connections and more of your posts that are on your LinkedIn too.
And if you're on a board of a nonprofit that doesn't have a LinkedIn, encourage them.
Yep.
Like if you're passionate about it, tell them like, hey, we should have a picture. We should have a profile thing. Because there are times where I'm doing this where I want to tag you and I want to talk about the great things that you're doing. Because nonprofits are stretched. Some of them have very small staff. And so you can kind of help be them and be their promoter if they'll just build a profile. And so just ask them to do that. Because that's not a huge extensive thing. They can do that and allow you to share and promote them and allow other members of your board to do the same thing. Like my wife's on the Abilene Zoo board. I wish the Abilene Zoo was more active on LinkedIn. Because I think the Abilene Zoo is an incredible recruiting tool for all of us in the community to say like, look, there's things for young families to do. There's education opportunities for schools, but they're not really on it. And they're there, but if you go to their profile, there's not much happening. And I want to tackle them and I want to talk about it because almost every young family physician that we have in that we bring into recruiting, the things I talk to them about are Open Road, the Grace, the libraries, the zoo, the schools, the affordable housing, the commute time. Like those are the big things I try to talk to every one of them about because I want to differentiate us from larger communities in the most positive ways that we can.
Even in the military, so you retired, you're now open to work, right? So for instance, Cam Wiley, he was retiring this past year, and he didn't know even where to start. And so he got with his friends that are pretty active on LinkedIn. He's like, can y'all help promote me? And so he got a pretty good following. People reached out to him. So helping others build those connections, LinkedIn is useful for that platform.
Not all Facebook posts or LinkedIn posts, but a lot of Facebook posts are. And that was something Samantha told Cam. It's like, Cam, this thing that you're doing with Beltway, or this thing that you're doing for the largest barbecue, or whatever it is, like all of those are great. Maybe you change a word here or there or add a hashtag, but all of those are perfectly fine and appropriate LinkedIn posts. It's just remembering to go do it. And if you start, in the same way of training your algorithm, if you start training yourself to look for things, like today before I headed over here, I packed up my 6 coffee cups on my table because I need to take them home and clean them before like bacteria grows and different things like that. And I was like, well, that's a LinkedIn post. And I like took a picture because I was like, oh yeah, like, you know, we all kind of have the times where like the coffee is what gets us through. And so there are professional things, there are kind of those different things. I showed Samantha a video that I saw on Reels. It was like this guy shoveling, and there's this little daycare watching him, and every time he shovels, all the little kids at the daycare are like, yeah! And I was like, I saved that video, because guess what? One day when I don't have a good idea to post, I can be like, wouldn't it be better if we were all more encouraging like this? Like, find a way to encourage your employees, find a way to connect. And so that has very little to do, but just like, you start kind of training your brain, like, I see that could be fun, I could add that, and just save it on your phone, and one day when you don't have inspiration, you got something that you can pull up.
Any other questions? I hope you're working on your LinkedIn post right now.
So should you do anything differently if you find yourself working in 2 completely different industries simultaneously?
I don't think so.
No, I would say there are some industries where your boss may not want you posting on LinkedIn, so, or posting about your professional, and that doesn't stop you from posting all the nonprofit things or the different things that you're involved in. And so it probably is good to be like, am I a voice for this company? Or is my boss happy with how this is going? And so I think there is kind of a there, you know. There are some people, especially if you go from never posting to posting a lot, that if I saw that, I'd be like, oh, this person's looking for a job. They're trying to leave us. Like, look how active they've gotten on LinkedIn in the last week and a half. You know, like they went from 0 to 100. And so those are the types of things. And there are some industries that I think it fits better with versus others. But again, I think promoting the nonprofits, promoting your community, and all those things, I think is kind of universal across the board. So, yes, ma'am.
Just a question to follow up on his. Well, would that be an opportunity to have 2 different profiles, one for each industry? You wouldn't do that?
No,
Okay.
I think for me that's just too much. If you've already got a busy life, trying to maintain 2 different profiles and make sure you're posting on the right one. If you're a social media content manager, you know, trying to remember which platform. There's times on LinkedIn that I was controlling our bank page and my page, and sometimes LinkedIn would switch them. And then I'd be like, I just posted a personal page on the bank page. I've got to delete that ASAP. So you just kind of, it's all, if you can balance it, great, then I say do it. But I think people are going to get confused, like, okay, which one are we talking about? So I would just keep consistency on one.
And I think there are posts there. There's so many people that have jobs with side hustles or 2 part-time jobs or whatever it is. And that's part of balancing your life. That's part of trying to get ahead. That's part of trying to save money for a down payment on a house. Like those are all things that resonate well with a professional community. And so, if appropriate, if it doesn't, you know, mess with your position, I think that is an interesting topic. That there's conversations about that happening on LinkedIn right now. That you could be a good voice as part of that. So rather than dividing yourself amongst, just be part of that. Hey, I'll do this thing and this thing. And it's sometimes hard to balance, and it's sometimes hard to do this different stuff. Some things about the algorithm also, I don't know if I've ever said that word more in 30 minutes, but I find that LinkedIn, if you go edit a post, for some reason it just quits getting seen by as many people. And so if you write a LinkedIn post and you immediately see that you misspelled something, I would copy it, just delete that post, and then repost it with spelling it the correct way. Because if there hasn't been engagement, if it hasn't started moving, I think edited posts, for some reason, it feels like the algorithm just like suppresses that. Last night, my buddy from college was like, you misspelled the word leveling on your LinkedIn post. And I was like, oh, crap. You know, this guy hasn't talked to me in like 2 years, but he wanted to text me. And I misspelled leveling. And so, but luckily it already had a few likes and not a bunch of grammar police out there. And so I was able to edit it and it didn't really kill it that much. But if I would have noticed that right away, I would have just deleted it and redone it. So that's just something I've noticed. And that seems worse on LinkedIn than maybe on some of the other social medias if they let you edit it. So, anybody else? Yes, sir.
You talked about training your algorithm. How do you limit the bots that are on there or messages that, I mean, they're sales is what they are. They're trying to sell. How do you limit that?
They come in your inbox all the time, just delete them. The moment you don't respond, they're not going to keep coming back. So that's what I try and do, is just wash them out.
Okay.
So.
Thank you.
For some reason, Texas Doctor Magazine wants to honor me as one of the top doctors in Texas. I am not a doctor. My sister, who's a doctor in San Angelo, I really want to like pay the $150 to be listed in their magazine because I think she'll be furious about it. But like they email me and I'm like, okay, like I don't understand. But I agree, like just ignore the ones. But then I've had some solicitations on LinkedIn where I actually know the person or
College connections.
College
That's-
connections.
we
And like,
graduated.
I had a guy that reached out from law school. He's like, I run this medical supply company. Would y'all be interested? And I connected them to our purchasing person. And like, I think if you have a connection with the person, those just jump off the page. But if it's just a random solicitor, you're like, no, I don't want to talk to this. I don't want to do this.
Just don't even open the message, because sometimes they'll see that it says that it's been opened. So, and that may entice them to try and follow up again.
And I can't do that because I can't handle the saying unopened. And so it just messes. And so, but she's totally right, because they'll be like, I saw that you read this 3 days ago. Are you interested? You're like, you're a robot. And I don't want to talk to you. So, anybody? Well, we're going to stay up here. We'd love to talk to y'all. We'd love to $2 $50 gift cards. So
Tag
thank you.
us, do the hashtag. We're
Thank you so
excited
much
to
for
see
First
it.
Financial. So thank y'all for coming.
Thank
We
y'all.
appreciate it.
Yay.